currently serving as the Director and Head of Risk Management.
I have author of 3 books, recently published 3 books, plus 7+ international research paper, domestically and internationally. The most important things in risk management is to create the risk culture. Actually, you need to interact with your team, even your board management, one-to-one basis. Actually, I was always fond up with number. Actually, it is a continuous learning process. Actually.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to FaceTime with Leaders, a podcast series by Directors Institute, World Council of Directors. I'm Sunny Pancholi, and today we have the privilege of speaking with a widely recognized authority in the field of risk management who has more than 2 decades of experience. Currently serving as the Director and Head of Risk Management at Soudah Development, part of the Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund, it is my pleasure to introduce Dr. Tania Dehury to the podcast. Dr. Tania, welcome and thank you for joining us. So, to begin with, could you give us an overview of your educational background and the major roles you fulfilled over the years, which ultimately shaped your journey towards becoming a leading authority in the field of risk management?
Thank you, Sunny. My name is Dr. Tania Dehury. I complete my master degree in business administration from Bangalore University in the year 2003. Then I joined with Thomson Financial as an equity research analyst in the beginning of 2004, where I was involved in building financial modeling, writing equity research reports, and basically covering US markets in the financial sectors. Then in 2006, I moved to Mumbai to join as a hedge fund analytics in Epitome Global Services, founded by the Raju Panchwani, ex-Morgan Stanley senior executive. So my role in Epitome Global Services was to develop various quantitative modelings and interacting with the hedge fund manager to identify the strategies in terms of merger and acquisition strategy, distress asset strategies. I was managing a team of 7 people and managing a AUM size of above 10 billion USD, managing the fund of fund, interacting with international fund manager, hedge fund manager, to identify the various risk stopping strategies, to meet the requirement of the managed fund. Then in 2009, I moved to Saudi, where I joined with one of the leading bank, Al Rajhi Bank, as a manager risk analytics and reporting. So in that, I started looking into the investment banking side of the banks, actually basically managing the investment banking risk in terms of brokerage business, asset management, real estate, investment banking. So I was looking at the entire risk management, apart from the regulatory reporting, interacting with external stakeholders in terms of auditors, internal auditors, external auditors, the regulators. I worked for briefly 5 years with Al Rajhi Bank. Then I moved to Samba, which is Samba Capital, which is currently the Saudi National Bank. They call it as a Saudi National Bank, as a vice president, managing again the similar role specific to the brokerage business, managing margin lending, looking at the enterprise risk management, developing ICAF, and part of the risk management committee, board committee member, in terms of defining the risk appetite and getting it approved from the board. These are the nutshell. Then again, I moved back to Al Rajhi Capital again in 2008, joined as a head of credit and market risk, director head of credit and market risk, looking at the entire risk management. And upon joining, within 6 months, I promoted to become the CRO, Chief Risk Officer of Al Rajhi Banks, looking at the credit risk, market risk, operational risk, and business continuity for the entire company. Then in 2022, I moved to Saudi Sovereign Wealth Fund to join as a head of enterprise risk management. and business continuity. Apart from this, in terms of education, I complete my PhD program in 2020 in cryptocurrencies. Recently, also, I complete my one-year program from Massachusetts Institute of Technology on sustainability, looking at the climate risk and ESG and all sort of things. Apart from this, I attend international leadership training in last year in Hague Business School, Paris. Also got an opportunity to interact with international MBA students spread across 180 plus international MBA students with faculties, more than 20, to give a lecture on ESG, environmental, social, and governance issues on the current trends, actually. I have author of 3 books, recently published 3 books, plus 7+ international research paper, domestically and internationally in A-graded journals. Also, recently I'm writing another book on the climate risk, and at the same time preparing for the GRI exam on sustainability and CFA ESG program, which I'm going to take soon, actually. So this is not background about me in terms of my educational and the experience.
It's inspiring to hear about the diverse experiences that have shaped your career in risk management, Dr. Tania. Your journey highlights the importance of continuous learning and adaptation for achieving success. All right, so moving ahead, looking back on your career, what initially sparked your interest in pursuing a path in risk management?
See, in my experience, I believe the effective risk management involves a healthy relationship between science, art, and the most important is the leadership. I think somehow we born as a risk manager. If I say into that, though we don't realize. See, whenever we plan something, actually, we try to understand what are the things we need. So this is nothing but a risk, actually. Suppose you are planning to go for a trip or something. So we look at the things 1, 2, 3, 4. I need to get ready. So whether it is these are called the risk identifications. By knowingly or unknowingly we follow it. Then we start what I have, actually. Okay, is this sufficient, or I need to do something, actually? So then you try to do the mitigation, actually. Okay, these are the things I need to keep it ready, actually. Okay. So when I talk about risk is a science and art and strong leadership, I did my graduation in commerce, so fond of with numbers, accounting and all these things, economics and statistics, and MBA in finance and marketing. And I started my career with financial analytics as a equity research analyst. So here I developed complex models and all these things, knowing the companies, the financials and all these things, actually. Yeah, how the company and what is their current position and how they are going to behave in the future. And started interacting with the top management in the conference call and all these things to know about the future strategy and all these things. So I built a strong foundation to knowing the number, in the company point of view. Then I moved to hedge fund, actually, where I was involved more into the quantitative. So I moved from financial to quantitative techniques, building again complex models and all these things, actually, and interacting with international hedge fund managers to understand the various strategies. I was working on the quantitative and qualitative because there are a lot of inputs come into the qualitative aspects, actually, that sort of things. Then it was a natural progress towards, I got the science and I got the arts, and it was a natural progress to move towards the risk management, actually. See, because in risk management, if you want to be successful, actually, you need to have a strong analytical background, which comes from the science. So it is not only the numbers, the company balance sheet, income statements. At the same time, you do a lot of analysis and all these things, but how you are going to interpret, how you are going to present, actually. So a lot of creativity come into picture. You might be very good at analytics, but you don't know how to present it, actually. So you need some kind of solid arts and all these things, actually. Then at the same time, when you talk about the leadership, because you need to deal with several senior management, including the board members and all these things actually. So whenever you present them, you need to make sure that you get the buy-in actually, in terms of not by force, but by, make them understood the things actually. So where you need to have a strong leadership, what you are saying, that need to be justified with the number as well as the qualitative aspects actually. Then people will realize your value or the worth actually. Then they might accept, So I always believe risk management is nothing but a combination of science, art, and strong leadership. Because in a corporate organizations, you have different departments. Everybody have a different role. Business, they have a set of targets, set of KPIs where they want to perform. But when you look at risk management, he has a different role to play actually. His objective is to try to protect the interest of the shareholders, interest of the board member, and regulatory. He is responsible for the regulatory things. So how to align both together actually, So you need to make sure most of the time when you do the risk management, we look at the short-term things actually. In doing the short-term analysis, we forget the long-term broad perspectives. Okay. So if you look at the short term, probably everything looks very green actually. There is no issue. Or when the business present a case, they don't go to the the negative sides of the proposal or the things. They give you most of the possible things because they are like salesman. They want to sell the product actually. But as you are looking at the shareholders' interest, you need to look more into what are the issues you might face in the long run actually. So from that point of view, how you are going to protect the investors who has invested money in the corporate, how you are protecting their interest, because sales guy, they will achieve their target, then they will leave actually, they get their performance bonus and all these things. But in the long term, you might face the difficulty. So when you review any proposals or anything, you need to look at the short term as well as the long term perspectives. Okay. Then join together, look at the things. If something is missing, how to put a proper mitigation plan actually, so that you avoid them actually. So in that way, you achieve the target both ways.
So, Tania, it's always fascinating to hear about the motivations that drive someone towards their field of expertise. And your story adds a personal touch to your professional journey. All right. So, moving ahead, with over 20 years of leadership in risk management, what are the most valuable lessons you have learned that continue to guide your decisions?
See, the most valuable lessons I learned is taking a long-term view actually, apart from the short-term view, which I explained, taking a long-term view. At the same time, you need to enhance the modeling, risk modeling skills actually, because in the today's world, if you look at the technology, there are a lot of data, a lot of information actually available in hand actually. Not like if you go back 15 years or 20 years back, where in limited internet, so you go to the books, try to get the things. But in this world, which information you are going to feed into the modeling, which data you need to, because there are thousands data, like you want to make something at your home, some recipe or something. You need to identify for this particular what I need. 1, 2, 3, 4. First is to identify, because when you have a lot of things, you miss, you get confused actually. So first of all, identifying the required information which need to be fed into the model when you do the risk modeling. Then once you get the correct information, you get the correct output actually. So this is, I believe in enhancing the risk modeling. Second, good understanding of the agile technologies actually, because a lot of changes is happening in the technology space actually. So you need to look at which is appropriate for the particular form of business actually, So for this business, which system is better, because there are thousands vendor in the market and all these things actually. So the technologies which you are going to use, how to communicate when you are interacting with the people. So you need to be very well versed with the technology aspects as well actually. Yeah. Then understanding the operational expertise actually. You should be very strong in the operational expertise. You need to understand the complete background about the company from the different perspectives, because the job of the risk management, it is not like a business where you deal only the transactions. You are the entire, you'll be interacting with various stakeholders across all the departments actually. So it is like when you talk about risk management, it is like a doctor. So you need to identify what difficulties the customer is facing, what are the symptoms actually. So once you understand the symptoms, then you give the right, medicines actually. So understand the operations thoroughly, which will help you to identify the risk actually, what is the challenges or the risk you are facing. Then plan for the proper mitigation actually. Otherwise, you keep on trying here and there, will not be. Or sometimes the business, because what it happen, most of the time, people do not disclose actually. Even if there is something going wrong, they don't disclose, because they might think, oh, it will backfire to me actually. I am responsible for this that actually. So, so if you have a operational expertise, and that comes to understand the process, understand the systems, understand the departments, how they are going to things, what are the key activities, so it come over experience and the learning actually, continuous learning process actually. Okay. Then, you also, you need to apply system thinking from the system point of view, how you can accommodate the new system, which give you, the better results and all these things actually, rather than doing manually, because sometimes it is very difficult, to cover, like some cases. Currently, I am in the real estate, it is a part of Saudi sovereign fund, where we have 11 business units, sectors, and more than 35 departments actually. Some of the departments are, very new concept, like you have natural heritage, we have sustainability, we have visitor experience and all these things actually, so they look at, the company, because we develop high destinations hotels, in one of the mountain areas, where it is not only the construction, it is above the sea level 3,000, square feet above the. So we have different challenges actually. We look at the protect the habitats, the animals and all these things. Also, we have we import the animals across the globe, and we keep it, we take care of them, and we free them in the forest by putting satellites and all these things actually, just to monitor the things actually. So we have a lot of obligations towards the green, and looking at the natural habitats and all these things. It is not only to have the luxurious hotels, but when the tourists come, how they enjoy the beauty of the natures. So we took care of that. So when you talk about this team, these are the new concepts, new technology. In fact, ESG and all, there is no regulatory standards, which is evolving actually. There are a lot of organized. So in this area, when you are working, you need to be expert, you need to learn a lot of things actually, and try to amend that actually. Also, the most important things in risk management is to create the risk culture actually, make them, the people understand why they need to come. It is like, sometimes when we have disease or something, we don't go to the doctor until unless it is becoming more actually. So we need to create awareness, because if it is more, then, the chances of, when you come at the last moment, the recovery is very less actually. So you need to create a culture, continuous interaction with the departments, awareness message, training, by creating this awareness, you get the trust, you build the trust with different departments actually. It is always important what you say, you should do that actually, then you gain the trust actually of the people actually. So the culture actually, sometimes, the management does not like, because it is good to have actually, some places, they like in organizations, there are some research which is good to have actually. It is not that important, but business and all these things, operation is very important actually. These are kind of second kind of things actually. But if you fail in the second line of defense actually, then you might fail the entire organizations. Like, I'll just put an example, it happened in India, the CRO raised a trigger, it is related to the Franklin Templeton investments, where there are some liquidity issues actually. but he was reporting to the UK. This news was, I think, 2.5 years before, actually, how they are managing their money market, the funds and all these things. It triggered it, but the reporting manager, suppressed it actually. So after a few days, you realize there is a penalty from, Central Bank of India, and they cancel their license actually. So it is not only identifying the loopholes actually, doing the corrective mitigation plan. Also, you need to be a strong leader to escalate the things actually, because sometimes it does not go to the board actually. So then you face the difficulty. I think these are the the motivational factor which bring you.
The lessons you have shared truly offer valuable insights into the field of risk management, Dr. Tania. And it's clear that your experience has provided you with a deep understanding that continues to guide your leadership decisions. All right. So, in what ways do you foresee your recently acquired corporate governance skills shaping your approach to risk management in your current role?
See, I always believe in continuous reading actually. The world is more dynamic. Things are keep on changing actually. And in the risk management, it is not written that it is 2 + 2 = 4 actually. It is based on the practice, over the period of time, the new, and understanding the industry, which are the more mature industry, which type of standards they are following actually. Okay. So you need to study a lot of things actually related to the area where it is interest, related to the jobs, what you are doing actually. Also, recently I was, last year I was in the Paris for managing one of the training actually, interacting with the dean of the, Hague Paris Management School actually, his name is Valérie Gutheri, over 33 years of experience. They develop an approach called Savior Relier actually, What does it mean basically? You need to interact with your team, even your board management, one-to-one basis actually. Try to put the questions, get the informations with your team and all these things, understand, the things. I tested this actually in my organization, and it works actually. In fact, I advise this approach to the trainer actually, a company HR. So they are practicing. It is basically, knowing your team strength actually. Everybody is not same actually. Some have very good understanding in the communicating the things actually. Somebody have more into the analytics actually, okay, who is very good at analytics, finding the numbers and putting into the modeling and all these things. And somebody was more into the creativity, like if you analyze the data or how to interpret the data actually, he is good at that. So knowing the strength, rather than focusing on the weaknesses, by this approach we'll be knowing the interest. It is like out of office, you go and talk to them, gaining the trust actually, interacting with them on a frequently. So when you talk about an organization, I think bringing the right people to the right expertise actually. When I'm talking about bringing the right people, the right expertise, then you become a successful team actually. Suppose somebody is doing the analytics, then you bring the other guy who is very good at creative the things actually, or who is very good at interpreting, or somebody is not good at analytics interpretation, but he is a very good strong leadership actually. So you bring into that, then you succeed. I think these are the very key elements which I learned from last year in my recent training actually. I recommend the colleagues actually on that, because it is very strong actually, and it was tested in couple of European companies where they are very successful actually, which we very rarely do actually. Sometimes I feel I'm the chief risk officer, why I need to talk to the juniors and all these things actually, or you don't take into confidence to them when you are doing something. So it is always better, because I always believe if you can convince 4 or 5 people, or if you can convince 5 people, why cannot you convince the people? Always also, when you are doing something, look at from the audience perspective actually. You might be doing something, but think that, okay, I am not the doer, but I am the end user. If I am the end user, what should I look into that actually? or what should be covered so that it look more, clear actually. And also, I believe when you are going to a new entity, a couple of things you need to make sure that keep the things very simple, simple and sweet, so that you understand the people, or do a thorough background about the board committees or your reporting manager, where they come from, because in a board you have different people from different industry experts. Somebody might be very new to the risk and all these things actually. So knowing them, knowing a bit of background about them actually, which will help you, to present accordingly actually. So knowing the members, because at the end of the day, you might do everything. But if to whom you are going to present, they don't understand, it does not make any sense. So first follow a simple approach, or like case, keep it simple and sweet. Then based on the understanding level, you upgrade that actually to gain the confidence actually. So once you gain the confidence, it is much easier for you actually. Gradually you are developing the trust and building the relationship.
Absolutely, Dr. Tania. Your strategic approach to integrating corporate governance into risk management truly highlights the evolving nature of leadership roles today. And it's quite exciting to see how these skills will influence your future work. All right. So, how did your transition from hedge fund analytics to risk management influence your perspective and approach towards managing risk?
See, I was always fond of with number actually. Even during our graduation days when we are doing commerce, we dream the number in the nights actually. So it is like sometimes we feel the in the night you are doing this, that, or sometimes we feel you have a lot of money in your pocket, because you play around the balance sheets, income statements, and all these things. So always fascinated towards the numbers actually. And in fact, I got a chance to work in the equity research actually, in the financial sector. Plus involved into the quantitative analytics when you move to that actually. Okay. And I think these are the two important strengths actually, because when you move to a risk management, you need to understand the numbers in terms of financial. Also, you need to bring some sort of quantitative analytics actually, by doing the regression analysis, building various models, the historical data, and all these things actually. So once you estimate the probability, the probability of default or anything, So I think when you have these two things actually, because sometimes what happens, people are very good in terms of statistics in the modeling, but they miss the part of finance or finance numbers and all these things, understanding the various risk, the ratios, basically I say it at the sensitive points actually. You need to know the sensitive points actually, if this is the point, how it is going to impact, or where the impact will be actually. So if you know it easily, then I think risk management it's much easier for you actually, because you have a strong foundation. Plus you need to have a strong leadership and communication, because when you work on the research side or hedge fund, you have limited, you might be talking to very few people. But when you move to the risk management, you'll be talking to the entire company, different department, not only business, operations, and everything actually. So you need to be very, that's the reason that will come through the trust actually. That's what I said. What you say, you should do that actually. What you speak, you should do that. Then the people will trust. And also you need to take into confidence the people actually, their opinion, their viewpoints. So they feel that you are with them.
Your ability to bring insights from hedge fund analytics into risk management offers a unique perspective on managing risk. It's intriguing to see how this cross-disciplinary experience has shaped your approach, Dr. Tania. All right. So, I would also like to discuss with you that as someone who has significantly contributed to the financial industry's risk management landscape, what wisdom would you impart to those striving to make a meaningful impact in this field?
See, I believe, as I said from the very beginning, actually, risk management is nothing but a combination of science, art, and strong leadership, actually. and we each have a inborn risk management quality actually. Okay. Whenever you do something, we plan it. Suppose you are planning for some exam or something, you need to see at, okay, what I need the budget. So here I need the money, or I need the time, or what is my level, okay, how much time I need to devote to complete this course or something actually. Okay, so these are the risk identification. Risk is nothing but identification, identifying the risk actually, assessing them, and planning for the proper mitigations actually, how I can prevent it, or having the preventive plan actually. Okay, so in that case, you need to be very thorough at the process actually, because once you identify the process, then it is easier for you to have a proper identification. What are the key risks you might be thinking to that? Then you can plan accordingly. It is like, if you go to a doctor, uh, sometimes what happens that the doctor, they don't go into the more details actually. They just, okay, this is the fever, give the medicines, try this one, try this one. But that does not work. Sometimes it might go more, the situation might be worse actually. So, a clear-cut understanding the processes, deep understanding of the processes, and that to come through learning actually, and having a strong background on the financials as well as the quantitative things actually. As you move on the ladder actually, you need to have a very good understanding. Always you cannot depend on the team members actually, that should come from because you will be leading actually as you move gradually. So continuous learning, clear cut, thorough understanding the technologies, and uh, you know you should have a very good leadership quality. How to interact with the people by creating the risk culture awarenesses and all these things actually. Okay, that will make you, and I think in the risk management, it is the only thing which is for you, the bread and butter is learn till you die, because it is a very
The
vast
wisdom
area.
you imparted.
It is a very vast area. Couple of days before we talk about market risk and credit risk, but now we have operational risk, we have business continuity, we have cyber security. So the role is expanding actually, which you don't know actually. A couple of years before, even you don't have heard about it. Now it is. The regulators are very serious and all these things like business continuity play important role during the COVID and after COVID actually, when we don't know that time what is a VPN actually, how to access the system outside and all these things. Then now we come a different age where cyber security, which is the biggest risk actually. Every day we saw the news, how the peoples are being frauded, or because of the technologies and all these things. So it is a continuous learning process actually. Nothing is written in a board that you have to follow this actually. So it is a continuous learning experience and best practices actually. So learn. And now if you look at, you have ESG, which is the most happening. I think the next 20 years it will be going to be like, plus you have this climate risk. In the bank, they call it as a climate risk actually. But in the asset management business, they call it as ESG, So that will come because these are not, available if you go back 5 years before actually. So if you want to be, in the front actually, so you need to work on that actually skills.
Absolutely. The wisdom you imparted is invaluable for those aspiring to make their mark in risk management. And your extensive experience provides a solid foundation for guiding the next generation of professionals. So, Dr. Anya, now on to our last question for this session. As you have enrolled in a course from Directors Institute for your boardroom journey, how much have you gained from it?
I think it is a lot of knowledge, lot of experience actually, understanding the different countries' rules and regulations actually. If you want to be a different part of the boardroom perspective actually, understanding the rules, understanding the artificial intelligence, which is new actually, understanding the ESG. Uh, uh, it helped me a lot actually. In fact, I am mid of the course, still I'm learning actually a lot of things actually. But I think the materials, the materials, the inputs which are provided, it is really a great learning things actually. Plus the the other country knowing it is not only because when you look at the board perspective, it is not a no more a entity operating in one country. So because of the globalization and all these things actually, and sometimes you interact with your other colleagues who is outside the country, they are dealing with different regions and different regulations. Basically it happen in the banking sector. So knowing that helps a lot actually.
Okay. I deeply appreciate the enlightening conversation we have had and your thoughtful responses throughout, Dr. Tania. Your ability to lead with a strategic vision truly makes you an invaluable asset to any organization striving to make a positive impact on society. And I'm sure your positive insights will guide someone in their journey towards excellence. So thank you so much for joining us today and sharing your precious insights with us. Thank you and have a nice day.